A husband and wife from Ohio had been in the middle of renovating their 40s home when they found something amazing. They just finished working on the first and second stories of the house, so it was now time to start on the basement. They did not know what was coming for them. As they began to work on the demolition on their own, they hacked at the plywood. When they did this, something caught their eye. They had no idea they would need to get in touch with the FBI for what they would find. As they started to chip away at the walls, the husband stumbled into some graffiti spread out across the room. The basement renovations were full of surprises since the start. There was something lodged between the subfloor and the ceiling. He took a closer look, although it was hard because the object was fitted perfectly between the rafters. He had to rely on his strength and courage to grab the object and then pull it towards him. It was gray and green, and someone left it there so that no one would ever find it. He reached for the suitcase and was astonished by its weight. Why would a suitcase of this size be so heavy? He decided to ring up his wife and waited for her to return home. He didn't want her to miss out on the big reveal. He also wanted to have her there in case something went awry. While it was fairly small, the mysteries hiding inside of it must be huge. The couple gathered together and brainstormed what could be inside the box. Would it be cash? Cards? Jewelry? The renovator had low expectations, thinking that he would probably just find some old sports cards. Well, he was far off. He couldn't believe what he found. But before we start our story, smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. They opened the suitcase together, although nothing seemed off at first. They found wads of wax paper wrapped around rectangular objects. At that point, they still did not have a clue about the hidden secrets of the bag. It was only when they took out these bundles that everything began to make sense. The two of them started to unwrap all of the wax papers they found inside. They held something together, but what was it? He started to peel off the waxy material. It then dawned on him that he was looking at money. The bundle had been hiding a huge stack of $20 bills, and this was merely the first bundle. They began to look at the bills some more and realized that they were all old. They couldn't believe the mere amount of cash they were staring at. Who had put all of this money here? These are all 20s. There may be a couple thousand here. We are freaking out at this point, the husband later explained to journalists. This doesn't happen to us. What do we do? Where are the cameras? They were eager to begin unwrapping all the other bundles. Were they going to reveal the same thing, or did they have something even more valuable than that one? The man and woman looked at these bundles in awe. They hoped that they would find the same thing in the rest of the bundles too. They were excited as they began to peel off the wax paper layers. However, they did not have $20 bills. They had $50 and $100 bills instead. The second package didn't have any 20s. It was all 50s. What is going on here? There could be $5,000 here. Wait, the third package is hundreds. This is out of control, he explained later on. They had a lot of questions going through their minds. The couple was finding stacks of mysterious money in their house. At first, they thought it was funny, but they quickly realized this wasn't a matter to be joking about. In all seriousness, where did this money come from, and who was trying to hide it? Where did the money even come from? The bills indicated that they were hidden a long time ago, all the way to the 20s and 30s. How much time has passed since then? How much money was in there? They investigated further and realized everything, from the money to the suitcase, was very old. Still, they wanted to learn more. Inside the suitcase, they found a newspaper at the bottom. The date read March 25th, 1951. It was from the Cleveland Plain dealer, leaving the couple in awe. The discovery was thrilling, but they wondered how much the money was worth. Some bills were star bills, meaning they never circulated. They contacted a lawyer who estimated the suitcase's cash value at $23,000. After a week of excitement, they resumed their renovations, only to find another suitcase hidden in the ceiling. The renovator, shocked, waited for his wife before opening it. When she arrived, they opened the case. It was filled with cash, just like the first one. But there was more. Another case was hidden between the rafters. As they continued working, they noticed a strange door on the second floor. Inside, they found yet another stash of money, neatly arranged. This time, the amount totaled around $45,000. Motivated by their luck, they kept exploring. The house seemed full of hidden surprises. Eventually, they discovered a small concealed door, which the realtor had told them housed the water heater. Following their instincts, they opened it, only to uncover the biggest secret yet. The realtor had deceived them, and what they found inside would change everything. The water heater room was just a deception. When they cracked open the door, they were stunned. It wasn't a utility space at all. Inside, they discovered a hidden room, much larger than expected, with old carpet pieces covering the floor. The husband, filled with unease, told his wife to stay back as he stepped forward, unsure of what he was about to find. A second locked door, secured with a bolt and master lock, stood in their way. Determined, he grabbed a hammer and forced it open. The room had been used before. It was moldy, dark, and intentionally hidden. Despite living there for years, they had never explored this part of the house. Everything was covered in white soundproofing tarp. But why? The unsettling thought of criminal activity crossed their minds. Lying on the floor was a briefcase. Hesitating for a moment, he finally opened it. Inside were a wooden box, envelopes full of foreign currency, expensive watches, rings, a jewelry box, and 4 silver ingots. Who hid these valuables and why? Tucked in the corner was a black safe. Something about it felt off. When he cracked it open, he found a single note inside. The note read, "Save yourself." The words were hastily written in rough black ink, making the message even more disturbing. Who wrote this and what were they warning about? Then he spotted a set of VHS tapes, each labeled with cryptic numbers. Unlike the other items, these tapes looked much newer. Whatever was recorded on them, he wasn't sure he wanted to know. However, one tape did not come with a label like that. 5 of the 6 tapes had tags. Did someone come up with all of these in the name of a twisted game? This was getting out of hand. They finally concluded that it was time to call the police. The homeowner could not contain his curiosity anymore, and this was how he soon found out what the tapes contained. After looking at them for a few seconds, he dialed the authorities and asked them to come to the house as soon as they could. The FBI then confiscated these tapes, but no one outside of these parties knew what footage they contained. Only the homeowner, maker, and agents know what was on the tapes. His curiosity led him to discover something that he ended up wishing he could unsee. There is a chance that we will never find out what was inside those hidden tapes. The media has come up with a theory that it contained footage of terrible crimes that happened in the soundproof room. It remains a mystery as no one knows just what videos were on the tapes. Of course, the investigation then raised a series of questions about everything they found on the property, from the bundles of money to the hidden tapes. What kind of people used to live in this house? Are there other secrets just waiting to be discovered? What are you going to do if you find the same thing in the house you have been living in all this time? And most importantly, are you confident enough to say that nothing like this is hiding inside your very own home? This couple got lucky in the fact that they were safe and didn't get hurt from any of this discovery. They did the right thing in contacting authorities because this was something they could not have handled on their own. Now they'll always have their own very unique story to tell. Finding all kinds of interesting things in older homes isn't a new phenomenon by far. In fact, many people who've moved into new homes have made strange and sometimes unsettling discoveries of their own. One example of that is this man who bought a house. The original homeowner passed away, and real estate agents sold the house as is, pennies. The new homeowner, excited about his house, eagerly explored the house and went down to the basement to see what he scored. He got to the bottom of the stairs and found a weird sheet of plywood attached to the wall. As it turns out, there was a secret room packed with all kinds of guns and ammo, not to mention a hollowed-out grenade. To top it off, the man also found a giant safe and a chest of money filled with nothing but pennies. A British couple was rummaging through the basement of their old family home when they stumbled upon this. They found a perfectly intact Victorian kitchen from the 1830s. It was fully stocked with pots, pans, a cooking range, and enough tables and benches to sit 20 people. They also found a cookbook with Victorian recipes. Linda and Wally DeForest are another example of a couple who moved into a new house with no idea what they were going to find. While Linda was unpacking things in the basement, she made a baffling discovery. She called her husband saying she found a torpedo in the basement. As you would expect, Wally was somewhat skeptical but looked into it all the same. However, he found out his wife was right. There was a heavy green torpedo in their basement. The couple then spoke to an Army veteran who explained that it was around for either a mortar or a lightweight anti-tank weapon from the Korean and Vietnam War. Eventually, the proper authorities came to take the bomb away. When the DeForests asked how on earth a torpedo would end up in someone's basement, the answer they got was that occasionally people kept torpedoes as souvenirs. While it must be fascinating to discover some old artifacts in the basement of the house you just bought, sometimes people discover completely different things. Diane and Pat Farla lived in an old Victorian house in England where they always wondered about the weird grate in their basement. One night, they decided to investigate after having a little wine. They removed the iron grill and found a hole just big enough for their nephew and his friend to crawl through. On the other side was a cellar that resembled a chapel. The couple asked historians about it and learned that the room dated back to the 1700s. It is thought that the room was used as a secret Catholic church in a time when Catholics were persecuted and executed.